Today on the Morning Edition, with the frequency of officer-involved shootings, there have been many searching for answers and asking questions of APD. Alaska's news source asked some questions of our own about one officer involved with 4 shootings in the past couple of years. We'll share what APD told us. Plus, it's almost here, and in true Alaska fashion, why wait for a perfect day when today is just fine? People are getting outside and rinsing the winter stiffness away, one chilly dip in the lake at a time. We'll show you more. And later, it's time to face yourself in the mirror and ask yourself the hard questions. What would you do if you found a wallet full of cash? We'll tell you how one man didn't even hesitate with his response as the Morning Edition starts now. Wow, Aaron, finding a wallet full of cash, what would you do?
You know, I'm one of those people who say I would turn it in, but it's always, I feel like it's one of those situations where you really don't know until you're actually met with it.
Yeah, until
but
you're
I would
actually
turn it
there.
in, but, you know, I guess we'd have to wait and see if I was met with that situation.
Yeah.
So. Well, we are waking up this morning. We've got some warm conditions heading our way across South Central. We are expected to see temperatures warming, 60s and 70s across the region. We'll even see some parts of Southeast managing to break into the 80s. But plenty of sunshine is in the forecast as we head through the next couple of days. We're waking up to those temperatures in the 40s. Yesterday, we did see some gusty conditions across parts of South Central. Today, we're not expected to see much in the way of winds outside of locations out towards Kodiak. Now, temperatures this morning, we've got many areas sitting in the 40s. A few locations still managing to dip into the 30s through the overnight hours, Portage, Seward, as well as out towards Cordova. The warm spot this morning, Homer at 52 degrees. But across most of South Central, we'll see those temperatures warming into the 60s and the 70s as we head into the afternoon hours. And we are dry this morning across most of South Central. We did see light showers moving through overnight for parts of South Central, but most of the activity continues to stay confined out towards Kodiak. This is where we've been seeing some gusty winds as well as some heavy rainfall that began to arrive yesterday. That rain also building into parts of Bristol Bay, where we're also seeing some breezy conditions to be expected out towards Dillingham, where we could see some winds gusting as high as about 30 to 40 miles per hour. For today, we're going to call it mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. Those temperatures expected to warm mid to upper 60s. This will be one of the nicest days we've seen since about September of last month. So get outside and enjoy this summer sunshine that we are going to see through a good portion of this week. Daily highs, or at least the highs today, you can see across the vast majority of the state, will be a nice one. I'll let you know coming up in my full forecast just how long it will stick around, as well as that rain that's going to kind of taper off across Kodiak as we head through the remainder of today. And, of course, that heat advisory we have for Southeast. I'll have those details and more coming up for you in my full forecast.
Matt Brown, featured on the show Alaskan Bush People, was found dead over the weekend. The cameras showed part of Brown's life. His family says there was much more to him: his humor, his creativity, his struggles, and his heart. His body was located in a Washington State river on Saturday after a 3-day-long search. His siblings say they're reeling from the loss, but finding his body has provided some finality.
What has been going through your heads? What have you been wrestling with in the wake of this loss?
You know, the hardest thing at first was just like the not knowing, because there were a lot of speculations around. Matt and I haven't talked as much as we used to.
Hearing all these speculations, you don't know what's true. And the last conversation that I ever had with my brother Matt, you know, he had told me that he was struggling.
I guess the hardest thing is to coming to terms with how finite it is, and that he actually is gone. I guess that would just be the hardest part. I'm still in that denial stage of grief.
He was featured on the series between 2014 and 2019, but his family said there was a lot behind the scenes that viewers didn't get to see.
Tell me about some of the things you remember about Matt in your memory. What was he like? What did he really enjoy most about his time up here?
Matt loved to tinker and invent things, much like Noah. And he loved to, get down and dirty, much like Gabe. But one of his favorite things was to just be goofy.
Even in a bad situation, Matt was never like down and out about it.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell it got to him, but it was always like, let's make it better.
Yeah, he really embodied the family motto of one wave at a time.
Matt's siblings shared a lot more about him and their time together. If you'd like to watch the full interview, you can find that on our website. Anchorage police have been focusing extra attention on places where walking pedestrians have been hit and killed by cars. Georgina Fernandez looks at what that effort revealed about the risks on city roads.
Check out these numbers. From April 20th to May 17th, the department did nearly 500 hours of high visibility enforcement in prominent areas in town where we've seen those fatal pedestrian versus vehicle collisions. During that enforcement, 272 speeding violations were cited. That's about 41% of drivers that were pulled over, and one of the main reasons APD was pulling people over. The department also conducted a reckless driving arrest in addition to 8 arrests due to DUIs or OUIs. According to the department, substance impairment has been a factor in numerous pedestrian versus vehicle collisions.
What we have noticed is that a significant number of pedestrians involved in those crashes are impaired, but likewise, we've seen a lot of impaired drivers involved in those crashes.
APD also issued 18 pedestrian-related citations for unsafe roadway behavior.
Yeah, there actually are a lot of rules of the road for pedestrians, such as you can't walk in the road if there's a sidewalk available. If you're crossing at an intersection that's signalized, you have to obey the signals for the pedestrians. And if it's a controlled access highway, you cannot be there unless you have an emergency.
Now, APD says it will probably do more enforcement like this in the fall. More funding has been requested to do the same event next year. Georgina Fernandez, Alaska's news source.
A specialized police role can mean specialized risk. That is the context APD is giving as one officer's name appears in multiple shooting reviews. Investigative reporter Johnson Kuhn looks at the questions surrounding that officer and the chief's defense of how assignments matter.
Anchorage Police Chief Sean Case says multiple officer-involved shootings involving the same officer can come down to assignment and timing. He was asked Friday, as well as last month, about APD Officer Jacob Jones, who has now been involved in 4 shootings since 2024. Chris Handy, Damian Dolison, Micah Bonin, and most recently, Emil McCord.
I think we've seen from our 15-year study that about 2/3 of our incidents occur during the middle of the night.
Case says that's the shift Jones works, and because canine handlers are expected to respond to the highest risk calls.
Those factors put him in a position where he just has the opportunity to be in the calls that may lead to officer-involved shootings. That's the position that Officer Jones has. And we ask him in the position that he's in to be available and to respond to these high-risk calls.
The most recent shooting was May 19th near Burgostry and Rica Drive, where police say 3 officers fired after McCord had a gun and ignored commands. And in early April, Case says Jones also fired during the Shore Circle incident, where police say Micah Bonin shot from inside a home before it caught fire. Case acknowledged repeated shootings can take a toll on officers, but rejects the idea it's unusual for those cases to be ruled justified.
I would be shocked and devastated and ashamed if one of my officers was prosecuted for an unclassified felony of killing someone in the line of duty. That was a felony crime. Like, we train them better than that. We expect better than them of that. And so I don't think that's a statistical anomaly at all. I think that's just the type of people we have.
Johnson Kuhn, Alaska's news source.
Case says the investigations are still ongoing with a review by the State Office of Special Prosecution to follow. And in the interior, construction season is in full swing in Fairbanks. Drivers near Chino Pump and Chino Bridge should expect delays. A resurfacing project is happening in that area. The work is broken into 4 sections and mostly involves removing old pavement and repaving to cut down on spring potholes. Later this summer, crews will close the on and off ramps from the Mitchell Expressway with detours using University Avenue. Pilot cars were used in early May and are expected to return when work shifts fully to Chino Ridge.
We don't want to stall the public in where they want to go, but for us to get this work done as quickly and as efficiently as possible, we need the public to follow our traffic control devices.
The project is expected to last into September and will include a new roundabout at Chino Pump and Chino Small Tracks Road. Fairbanks leaders are pushing for a new mental health court. Mayor Mindy O'Neill announced the effort Friday. She says the program would build on the success of veterans and addiction wellness courts. The goal is to pair accountability with treatment, supervision, and support services. The Tanana Chiefs Conference and the National Alliance on Mental Illness are among the partners supporting the effort.
Mental health courts across the state and country have shown that when accountability is paired with structured treatment, supervision, and support services, outcomes improve dramatically.
O'Neill says people are less likely to reoffend when these courts are used. The program's framework is already being developed. And summer in Alaska does not always wait for 70 degrees. You know it is summer when people start swimming before it actually gets warm. And here's proof at Jewel Lake Park. Kids played in the sand, dogs tested the water, and some people went all in. Melissa Fry was there.
Summer is here and it is starting to feel like it. Here at Jewel Lake Park, kids took advantage of the dry weather to get out and play today. Even with temperatures only in the upper 50s, in true Alaskan style, people were playing in the water from dipping their toes in to going for a full swim. And we saw more than one pup eager to get out and test the water. Now, for those not ready to get into that chilly lake, it was still an active day at the park with friends hanging out from digging in the sand to hang out in the field and on the playground. While only a few dozen people were ever here at one time today, I'm sure with temperatures in the 70s, this will be a popular spot next week. Just don't forget your life jacket or borrow one at the Kids Don't Float station. Melissa Fry, Alaska's news source.
Still ahead today on the morning edition, food pantry services and food banks across Alaska are all saying the same thing. Meat is up, supply is down. Donations are at a low with costs up. People have less to share and the need is greater than ever before. We'll show you how you can help.
And we are chasing those 70s across South Central and a good portion of the state. I'll have what to expect as we head through the next couple of days. First at sunrise, 4:34 in Anchorage, 4 o'clock in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
Well, Aaron, it is barely 6:15 in the morning and the sun is already out. What are we looking at here?
We've got some beautiful conditions taking hold across a good portion of the state. This week really going to be the week that you want to get outside and enjoy it because we do have some cooler weather that is set to make a return as we welcome in the weekend. Daytime highs, though, for the next couple of days will be in the 60s and 70s. We may even see some 80s as you head out toward parts of the Panhandle where we do have a heat advisory that remains in effect for the southern Panhandle. Now, Kodiak, you're still seeing some rain as well as some gusty winds, although that will lighten up as we head throughout today. Of course, the heaviest activity was from noon yesterday through about noon today. And then you'll see the vast majority of Kodiak beginning to lighten up with that activity through the rest of your Tuesday. Temperatures across a good portion of the state sitting in the 40s and the 50s. We've got sunshine from Ketchikan through Fairbanks here in South Central from Anchorage to Palmer. We are waking up to some parts of the valley with a bit more in the way of some cloud coverage, calling it mostly cloudy skies. But even for you will see that return to some sunshine as we head throughout the day. We've got some lingering activity that's pushing through parts of the interior. Overall, though, fairly dry for most of the state. We are watching that rain continuing out towards Kodiak and then moving into parts of Bristol Bay out towards Dillingham, where we could see some light rain showers sticking around throughout the day. Notice the tightening of these pressure gradients that we're seeing with this area of low pressure. That means out towards Kodiak, you can see that persistent easterly flow. This is where we're seeing those winds pulling in out of the east upwards of about 30 to 40 miles per hour. We're also seeing that easterly to northeasterly flow as you head through parts of Bristol Bay, even out towards the Aleutians, eastern Aleutians and the Alaska Peninsula. So those areas will continue to favor some gusty conditions. You can see winds of 20 to about 40 miles per hour, and we will continue to favor those gusty winds as we stick around through the rest of your Tuesday and into the evening hours. Now, rain will lighten up as we head through the rest of today. We're not talking about that heavy activity that we did see yesterday. Notice by the evening hours overnight that rain pulls off. So Kodiak tonight into your Wednesday, you'll dry out and you'll see some sunshine returning. Unfortunately for Kodiak, we're not going to see any of this significant warmth that the rest of the state will see. Temperatures for you will largely stay in the upper 50s, may see some 60s in the forecast. You can see across South Central, though, we continue to stay on the drier side. Now, while we are on the warm side as we head through the next couple of days, I'll go ahead and tell you, by this weekend into next week, we are going to see a tilt back down with our temperatures. Now, nothing significant, not like we saw in April, nothing like what we saw for most of May, but we will see those temperatures as we welcome in the weekend and into early next week, dropping back into the upper 50s and the lower 60s. So our warmest stretch stays with us through Friday, and then by Saturday on into next week, you can see that drop back down to our temperatures back down near seasonal values, if not slightly below seasonal conditions. So enjoy the next couple of days. Plenty of sunshine sticking around as we welcome in early next week. That cloud coverage increasing. We could see some isolated showers, but largely on the drier side. Those overnight lows also staying fairly warm as we drop into the upper 40s and the lower 50s. Warmest day shaping up to be tomorrow with temperatures across South Central, low to mid 70s.
Hunger is not always easy to see until you look at the shelves meant to help feed people. At one Anchorage pantry, those shelves are running low. Lauren Maxwell shows us how rising food costs are squeezing families, donors, and the nonprofits trying not to turn anyone away.
At Catholic Social Services St. Francis House,
So this is one of our donated food shelves.
many of the shelves are bare.
We have a lot of empty shelf space.
Donations to the pantry that provides food boxes to as many as 140 families a day are running very low.
A big portion of our food comes from community members who clean out their pantries or go to a store and purchase stuff, to bring to St. Francis House. And those donations have dipped recently.
And it isn't just here.
We are seeing donations down across the board.
The Food Bank of Alaska says many of their partners are struggling as well. They blame it on the high cost of food in general. More people need help, while others don't have as much to give. Another reason? Grocery stores aren't donating as much food that's been sitting too long on the shelves.
Grocery stores are being smarter with their food ordering, so they're ordering less food to produce less waste. Using like AI technology to help them figure out how much food they need so they don't have as much waste to give to the food bank.
Back at St. Francis, they strive to serve as many people as possible.
You're good to go? You're welcome. Have a good day.
Without turning anyone away. Lauren Maxwell, Alaska's news source.
St. Francis House Food Pantry accepts donations during weekdays, and of course, both the Anchorage and Fairbanks food banks can always use your help as well. If you're in the Juneau area, the Southeast Alaska Food Bank has a 24/7 outdoor drop box for donations.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting. Available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.